Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this video is primarily targeted to my students for some notes that you might want to take notice of, right? So I have been marking the quizzes and there are certain things that I have noticed that I just want to share here for your benefit, inshallah, and hopefully this video will be as short as possible, hopefully, inshallah. So there are several things, maybe 4 things. Number 1, in one of the submission, a student actually write not enough time. So I assume he ran out of time and then could not finish the answer because the answer is incomplete, and then he just write there not enough time, like to notify me that the time given is not enough. Right, fair enough. However, when I check the timestamp of the submission, it is actually at the minute of 19 out of 25 minutes given for the quiz, right? So I was puzzled because there are still 6 minutes left. Why did he mention that that is not enough time? My assumption is he assumed the quiz is for 20 minutes, just like the previous quiz, because the previous quiz to that is 20 minutes, and then for that quiz it a bit longer, so I give 25 minutes. Right, so the instruction I thought have been clear, because for every quiz, every class, I post the instruction clearly, what is the time of the quiz to start, to end, the submission, etc. Right, so my assumption is he assumed the time given based on the previous quiz. So point here is never make assumption. Make sure you verify and validate the information that you assume. If you make an assumption, the best is not to assume, just check and then verify, okay, that is the information given, and know for a fact what is given, right? So point number 1, do not make assumption. For the second point, it is related to how you write things on paper, right? So what you write should reflect what you mean, or what it should mean, right? So I will show a screenshot of the answer. Of course, the name is covered here. So take a look at this, right? So if I go here, right, just looking at this portion, right, so mathematically this can be cancelled, right, and it equal to 1, and then suddenly on the right here you have some calculation, and obviously this is not equal to 1, so something is wrong here, right? So obviously I hope you notice what is the wrong thing here, right? So yeah, this here, right, something is definitely wrong there. Similarly here, right? So this is where this is a good example, because when I mark here, I see this obvious problem, and this is where what I have mentioned in the class in terms of how you write vector and scalar. It should be clear what is what, which is which, right? So moving on down here, right? So if you look at this portion here, right, this portion here, this can be cancelled as well, right? And then suddenly you have UAB equal to something there, right? But obviously he didn't mention that, because if you cancel this and this, then it equal to 1 as well. So what does that mean? Shouldn't that mean UAB equal to 1? Because this can also already be cancelled here, then this become 1, right? So again, this just illustrate the way you write. It should be very clear. Now another case here down here, if you can see, this and this is the same, right? So it can be cancelled out. Obviously that is not the case, but the way it is written here, it is a problematic way of writing. So this is just to illustrate how you write vector and scalar should be clear. Otherwise, what does that even mean, right? So that's the second point. For the third point, I will not show the exact paper and what is written, but basically it is like this. You can follow through the calculation, you will see a lot of mistake happen, and then miraculously, magically, in the final answer, some numbers come up, and then it gives you the final answer to be correct, right? So I have tried to understand how that, even though there's a lot of mistake happen in the calculation, suddenly you coincidentally get the right answer, right? So I have tried to use my calculator to follow through the calculation, etc. There's no other explanation than it is magic. it is magic, right? Of course, some would assume, some would suggest that there's another explanation. He just cheat and, you know, copy the final answer from someone or somewhere, right? But I do not want to assume that my student cheated in quiz or exam. I do not want to assume, you know, they copy from anywhere. So I will assume none of my students copy and cheat, right? So the only logical conclusion in the end is they use magic. Now, if you are my student and you use magic like this, suddenly whatever happened and suddenly the correct answer appear at the end out of nowhere, I just see, oh, this is magic. In Islam, magic, or if you consider magic as sihr is forbidden or haram. So I will just simply write at the end, okay, because there's magic being identified to be used here, I will just magically make your okay, I will not use magic. So your marks, full mark of this quiz or this final exam will magically become 0 because you have used sihr. This is not the place to use sihr, right? This is not where Harry Potter goes to university, right? So yep, so any of you, if you are my student, if you use magic like that, where suddenly the correct answer in the end appear out of nowhere with no logical conclusion, no logical reason, I would assume it would be magic, and I will just have to give you 0 for the whole thing, even though there's some correct thing, equation, etc. The whole thing will be 0. So this is a warning for anyone who tend to use magic in your exam or quiz, right? So consider this as a final warning. And point number 4, this is the final for this video. This is not from the marking of the quiz in this semester, but this is from one of the previous years in the final exam, right? When I was marking the final exam, this is what happened. So this is basically what the student have written at the end of the answer booklet in the final exam in that semester. So I read, "Respected sir, please let me pass. Please sir, I tried my best in the paper. Ramadan Kareem." Alright, so and I'm just showing here my direct response. Obviously the student will not be able to read this because final answer booklet is just submitted, and then the department will keep it, right? So what my response is this: Ramadan Kareem, I have also tried my best throughout the semester to make every student pass the subject, including this semester, including any whatever semester I teach. That has always been my intention. I am trying my best to make sure that every student pass the subject. I am not sure of your total mark yet, but with 14% final exam mark, it may not be enough, right? So I haven't checked with the carry mark, etc. I just marked the paper itself and it appeared to be 14%. Obviously in this university right now, with the 50% mark needed for the final exam, even if you have high carry mark, if you have this kind of final exam mark, you will not pass still, right? So this is obviously before that, right? Before that policy come into place. Let us try harder next semester and avoid asking help at the end of the semester when it is too late, right? So any student who need help, please ask before it's too late, right? So yeah, because from the quizzes that I have marked, it appears to be that many students does need help, because I don't know what happened, because it seems that those students do not understand, hence the way they try to answer is like, you know, it shows that. But when in tutorial sessions, etc., when I open up as open as possible any possible question that you want to ask, no one seems to have any question. So I assume everyone have understood. So I'm not sure what is the issue, but point is, please do not delay asking for help, because when it's too late, it's too late, right? So I wish no one delay asking for help if you need. and make the effort necessary, inshallah. Wallahu alam, I think that's it for this video. Hopefully you take notice of what you need to understand and what you need to do, and inshallah we'll see you in the next class. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.